Nero is November's flavor of the month in TEPPEN. While the Devil's Awaken expansion gave many decks an upgrade, there's always buzz surrounding new heroes. And while Jill appeared mediocre at first, it appears that the one-armed Devil Hunter is sprinting right out of the gate. All of Nero's hero arts are viable. I won't go into great detail on all of them since I've done that in previous videos. For today, we're going with True Power, which is 12 AP to increase the growth level of a unit by 1. This doesn't mean 1 growth point, which is the stat you increase to gain growth levels. Think of this as a free level up. I'll show you 2 versions of this deck, a budget build and a more expensive one. The budget one, as the name implies, is much more accessible but a little less potent. The second version is more robust but requires more investment. I'll be playing my matches with this build. Basarios, G, and the new Rebecca are growth units. They get bonus effects the further they level up. That is triggered by playing other units. Action cards don't contribute to growth points. Rebecca buffs the health of units on the board. G's first level buffs his stats, and the second level deals damage spread out equal to his health total. Basarios transforms into Gravios, and when he hits level 2 he deals 7 damage to a random enemy unit. Ava will help your growth units level up faster. When she hits the board, a random unit with growth gets 2 growth points. Essentially, she gives 5 points total when she's played. Awaken Power is a 1-cost action that gives 5 growth points to a unit, another great way to level up. Wind Armor gives a damage reducing effect, plus if used on a growth unit, it gets +1/+1. Wall Jump is a shield, it's good, you already know this. Disarm is essential for shutting down problem units and stopping enemy growth units from reaching their full potential. Emergency Strike is 3 MP to deal damage to a random enemy unit equal to the health of a green unit, and since many of your units will retain high health, this can be very strong. Godcraw Machine Oinari is a 7-cost 3/9 unit with Heavy Pierce and Veil. Being untargetable by your opponent is great, and he provides a lot of growth points with the right setup. Heavenly Kicks Chun-Li. She's good, so we include her, you know this. Now we get into the new legendaries. One-Armed Hunter Nero is a 6-cost 1/8, and when he's played, he explores for Wire Snatch. Nero changes to Devil Form Nero when he hits growth level 2, that's a 3/7 with flight and combo. Desert Tyrant Diablos is a very strong unit, a 5-cost 2/12 with spillover. He deals 6 damage to you when he's played, so be careful of that, but at growth level 2 he gets 2 attack, and at level 3 he gets +2/+6. Yes, this card is insane. An Unbreakable Bond is there to copy your more powerful growth units like Diablos. Keep in mind that copied unit will be at growth level 1, not the level of the card it copied. This first match is actually against a good buddy of mine, Mallet Moogle. He's a streamer, so if you haven't checked out his stuff, you should definitely go watch him. He's a big fan of Jill, and it's a great time to be a fan of Jill because she's really strong right now, getting a big boost from the new cards that came in the Devil's Awaken. So as you'll notice right here, we've got a couple of key things that we want to keep. We've got the legendary Diablos. We have Awaken Power if we need to get a quick level up, and we also have Unbreakable Bond. Now, 2 legendary Diablos on the field is very difficult to deal with, especially if you are not playing green or something with hard removal like black. So that's the play that we choose to go for here. So Zeku comes out to get the combo, gets his first explore count, and you'll see us quickly drop Diablos, and we are going to do that Unbreakable Bond to get our second Diablos on the field. If that happens, he's going to go ahead and apply that combo on Zeku, which is fine. And then we are going to take that opportunity to use the free MP for Awakened Power, get a first growth level on that bottom Diablos, already making him a huge threat. So now we've got 2 big beefy units that are going to become problems if they stick around for much longer. And we drew into an Ava, which is great because she's going to be able to give one of these guys a free level. So you'll notice he's already hit his Explore threshold here, playing the Hellbat and the Carlos. He tries to throw down a shield on Zeku, and we're going to use that free MP to put our Wind Armor on our bottom unit down there. He's going to respond with Detonation, but it doesn't matter because we have shield. So we're going to avoid the bulk of that damage, and we're going to make this Diablos even tankier, which is going to become a big problem because he can still level up too. So at this point, we're waiting for 3 MP to drop that Ava to give one of these guys a level up. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which one. We're going to use our hero power to boost our top Diablos to make him a little beefier before he starts to contend with his antibody activation to Carlos. Out comes Bishinryu Awakening to give himself another combo from the Zeku in the bottom lane. and we're going to choose to use that free MP to give the bottom Diablos another shield. So these two units still being big, bulky, sticking around. Ava comes out, putting that top one at max level. He's going to apply combo to that Carlos, and we're going to use that free MP to awaken power our bottom Diablos and get it up to max level. And at this point, this field is pretty ridiculous. This is very hard for a multitude of decks to deal with, because now we've got the spillover on both of the units. They're both pretty bulky, although the one on the top has gotten significantly weaker. We also have Emergency Strike on deck for 12 damage to a unit, whichever gets dropped. So at this point, we're just waiting. We've also got a seal on deck if we need it. We're waiting to see what comes out to make that decision. But for now, just going to let these units wreak havoc. So up top comes Cody. We are not fast enough to save our top Diablos from Cody, so we do the Emergency Strike a little late there. But ultimately, it's okay because we've got some decent units to play. We could play Basarios or G. We're going to choose to throw down G because he has that extra damage when he reaches level 3. So we're going to automatically put him at level 2. And at this point, the board is too big for a player to control unless they have tons and tons of resources. So you'll see us close that match out. So the power of that legendary Diablos, especially paired with Unbreakable Bond, is very strong. 4-cost Morrigan is still very, very strong. One thing you need to keep in mind is that while the deck hasn't changed very much, you know, what made it strong in the previous expansion is still prevalent right now. And while people are still experimenting with ways to make the build different, most of the 4-cost Morgans you're going to run into are going to be pretty structurally similar to what you've seen in the past. So right away, we've got some options here with G. We've got 2 Avas on deck and a shield. So at this point, we're waiting for our MP to build up, and we're going to be trying to get that first level off of that G. So out comes one of the newer 4-cost units to the Devil's Awaken expansion. So we're going to throw out G, and then Ava comes out for that quick level up, and then unfortunately, Eva gets thrown away by Beltway. But then when we drop another one, we get a free 8 damage on the board, which softens up this unit on the bottom. G's going to be taking some damage, but ultimately we come out okay. So this G is max level. So we have a couple of options here. We're going to go with the Basarios to eventually turn into a Gravios, and we've got a free level on deck, but we don't need to use it just yet, because this Basarios could potentially soften something up before we need to waste a level up on it. So out comes the Foresight, where he's dropped Lupo and Vector, which are 2 familiar units if you're familiar with playing 4-cost Morgan at all, and if you've been playing TEPPEN, I'm sure that you are. So we decided to use the free MP for a shield to keep that G living, but out comes the Splendid Buffet. And at this point, I'm weighing the option of whether or not to use Wind Armor. I decide not to do it at the end of the day because this G is still going to survive for a little bit. I mean, ultimately, he's going to die, and we want that board space to clear up anyway. So at the end of the day, it's okay. So the Ava that we had earlier goes away. We throw out Rebecca, which gets immediately Beltwayed, and then out comes the Shadow Blade on the Basarios, which is perfect. This is a great opportunity to level it up. So out comes the Rebecca, which levels it up to a Gravios, and then we throw out the True Power, which gets that 7 damage down, clearing one of his units and leaving just the already softened up Beltway. So Rebecca comes out to give some more health, and at this point we have another True Power on deck. So now we can begin to beef up our board, especially out of 4 Eyes range, which is very, very important. So we're going to throw down Wind Armor so that we can trade a little bit better with this Beltway down here. Make this Rebecca stick around a little bit longer, especially because she's still growth level 1. Out comes, I say that a lot, don't I? Out comes Tigrex, and at this point, we're just kind of waiting. They kind of trade up there because I don't really see the need to invest a whole lot in a growth unit that is already maxed out when Rebecca still has growth levels to go. So my thought process now is we want to throw down Godcar Machine because it's got Veil, which means it can't be touched by a lot of what Morgan has in hand, and it's going to provide some health bonuses to it at the end of the day, which you will see is what just happened. And the Shadow Blade comes out to soften up that Rebecca, but it's still going to stick around, which means great trading here with Tigrex. And we're going to throw down the shield on that Godcar Machine to keep it just a little bit healthier, because it is a threat with that heavy pierce. And now we are in great shape. So we throw down Heavenly Kicks Chun-Li to spread out our threats, and that is going to close out that match with the surrender. So Morrigan still has a lot of power. You just have to get control faster than she does. I think it's important for you to understand the mirror match because of Nero's popularity. He's going to be around a lot. So this is a true power versus true power match. And you'll notice right away this hand is not very good. So thanks to the new Mulligan mechanic, we're going to choose to get rid of this and get something much, much better in terms of the 2Gs and a growth power. So both players are ideally going to sit here and wait to see what they could do with their growth units, but you'll notice this is a little bit different because he has ramp in his version with the Iris, which we do not run. So we're going to throw down the G to break that shield, and now ideally we're going to wait to drop this second G, and out comes Honda, which is a good budget unit for Nero if you don't have a lot of the really powerful units. So he's going to use true power on Honda, which is going to deal some damage to one of my Gs. It's going to be on the bottom. So now we are going to, this is a mistake. Let me point this out really quick. I am activating the growth on the bottom G, which will level it up to level 3, which if you remember, that deals damage equal to its health. It's not like Gravios. So that true power, I should have put it on the top G. That's a mistake. So make an important note of that. So he's going to seal it up. And I'm going to give it another +1/+1, even though it's going to get sealed. So now see, if you'll realize this, if I had done that before and used the true power on that G in the middle, I could have cleared his board already, and it would have put me in a much better position. So now I'm playing catch up because of that mistake. Out comes defensive field, which puts shield and +3 on a friendly unit with growth. He's looking to have that Honda stick around, and now's a great time to cast Awaken Power on that middle G to get that damage coming out. But then out comes the seal. Not really much we can do about that in this situation. Seal is a big deal against Nero, shutting down the potential of growth units before they can really get out there to do anything. So we use another wind armor just to put a few more stats on this bad boy, and now they're just going to have to trade. So we have a few options in hand. We're not going to really use the emergency strike here because the health pools just aren't as high. And then out comes Aid, which gives a friendly unit +1/+3. I'm not a fan of this card. So we try to use emergency strike here to clear that Honda before the buff goes off, but RNG is not in our favor, and it ends up targeting the Rebecca instead, in which he chooses to use Honed Senses, which gives 3 growth points. It's like a lesser version of Awakened Power, not something I'm a fan of. So he's going to beef up his field a little bit more, keep that Honda around a little bit longer, which I'm not entirely a fan of, but at the end of the day, he has the advantage right now. So we're going to be looking for ways to catch up. Heavenly Kicks Chun-Li is one way to do that. Basarios is another way to do that. So now he's got 2 Rebeccas, which are buffing each other up health-wise. So we throw down the Basarios, and then that final G ends up dying. So now we are looking for opportunities to get this free damage, and out comes the Nico for more health. And since the Basarios in the middle has been softened up, now's a great time to change him into Gravios. And we're looking to get that level up to soften up this board. And we drew into an Ava, which is a great chance to do that. So we throw down the Ava, but it actually doesn't target the middle one, which is unfortunate. So we're going to be looking for ways to get some level ups here. Out comes the auto heal on the layer he played in the middle. But since we have Seal, now is a great time to lock that up. As you'll see, I'm sitting here debating about whether or not I want to do that, and ultimately I decide to do it with the 2 free MP, put the seal on that layer to stop that MP boost and to get rid of that extra buff it tried to put down. So that Ava is going to go away, which will free us up to throw down another unit to get some level ups for the damage. And as you will see, that middle Gravios gets that 7 damage, and now is a great chance to use true power on that Rebecca to heal up all these units on the board to give me more stopping power. And now we are in control. We are dictating the pace of this match. So now we are waiting to see what he will do. He throws out the Epic Nero, which is not a bad card. It's another great budget option out in the middle to give it a shield. So what we are going to wait for is we're going to wait for that shield to go away. And this middle Gravios is going to kick the bucket, but we've got big Diablos coming out in the middle for the level up for the 7 damage. He's going to choose to try and win armor to throw on that Nero, but I don't even want to deal with it. So now's a great time for emergency strike, clear that unit. We're in a great position right now. We have total control of this board, and we are about to run rampant. As you'll see, he is just hanging on for dear life at this point, and Diablos is going to close out the last of his health total, winning the mirror match.
I'm really getting the hang of this new toy.
Thanks everyone for taking the time to check out this deck guide. I hope it's helpful to you. If you want more TEPPEN, go ahead and subscribe because more is on the way. Take care. I'll see you next time.